Good morning. Welcome to the Phoenix Gate within the Path of You, where we identify the exact pattern that is running your life, interrupt it, and give you a clear behavioral shift within the video. Today, I wanted to talk to you about divine timing and how we actually use this to outsource our own agency and promote avoidance within our system. Most people are not operating within divine timing. They're in avoidance, and they're using language that makes it sound intentional, even sanctified. There's a rule. If you're in divine timing, you're already moving. If there's no movement, it's not timing, it's avoidance. No action equals no alignment. So this means we need to define this clearly in order to understand and recognize where we're actually causing ourselves harm and what we can do to change this behavior. So divine timing is calibrated movement within uncertainty. You don't feel fully ready. You don't have perfect clarity, and your nervous system isn't perfectly calm, but you move and take action towards your vision anyway. Avoidance, on the other hand, is delayed initiation. It sounds like, I need more clarity. I'm waiting for the right moment. I just don't feel ready. But functionally, there's no movement, no action steps towards your vision or your goals. This isn't random. You're not doing this for no reason. It's a coordinated system, psychological and physiological, designed to keep you stable. The first layer within this is within the cognitive mechanisms around why your mind justifies this delay. Because your brain is a prediction engine. Its goal is not growth, it's error minimization. If action introduces uncertainty, the brain flags it as risk and deploys specific mechanisms in order to maintain safety and stability. There's cognitive dissonance reduction, where now isn't the time. Rationalization, where I need a better plan. There's also ego preservation mechanisms, where I could succeed, I just haven't tried yet. And this protects your internal identity at the cost of external results. And then there's conditioning, which is why we stop initiating. And I apologize, I have a sinus infection, so I'm having a hard time speaking clearly today. But this cognitive conditioning occurs when your history includes effort that didn't pay off, effort that was punished, or unpredictable outcomes. Your system adapts through learned helplessness within these mechanisms. So the internal model becomes, my actions don't reliably change the outcomes. So your initiation drops. Not because you're incapable, because your system has learned that action is inefficient or unsafe. And then there's a third layer where your nervous system dynamics create this sensation around why you feel stuck. Avoidance in this state is often the freeze response. When your system detects uncertainty, social risks such as judgment or rejection, or identity instability, it can shift into dorsal vagal activation. This creates low energy, indecision, a loss of urgency, and an I'll do it later attitude. At the same time, you may have sympathetic activation that includes anxiety, overthinking, and mental looping. So if you end up here, you're mentally active, but behaviorally frozen. That's not intuition. That's a dysregulated loop. And then there's the reinforcement layer, which is why avoidance within us gets stronger. Avoidance works in the short term. You don't act, so your discomfort drops and your nervous system relaxes. And your brain logs this as this strategy reduces stress. So it repeats. When you add in loss aversion on top of this, where you avoiding failure is greater than pursuing success, and identity protection mechanisms that keep your potential intact, you get the core payoff. The lay lets you feel capable without ever having to prove it. The final layer, the fifth layer, is authority drift, which is why you lose control in these situations. Every delay shifts authority outward. From I decide when I act to I act when it feels right. Now your behavior is controlled by your emotional state, external validation, environmental certainty, and that's not alignment, that's dependency. So pause for a second. If you're hearing this and thinking, this is exactly what I do, this is the kind of thing I handle directly in one-on-one sessions, because content can show you the pattern. It cannot interrupt it for you. That requires precision and feedback in real time. So now, let's talk about what divine timing actually does. And these are the counter mechanisms to the avoidance patterns. Divine timing is not just better behavior, it actively rewires these systems. In the first layer, it disrupts learned helplessness. Every time you act and get feedback, you update your internal model. My actions produce outcomes. And this restores your cause and effect mapping within your mind. Agency returns to you, and initiation of action becomes easier over time. In the second layer, it recalibrates your nervous system. Action under manageable, calculated risk builds tolerance and resiliency. Instead of avoid the thing, find relief, and reinforcing the freeze response, you get act. And it brings survival and I adapt. Your nervous system learns that exposure is tolerable. Uncertainty is survivable, and movement does not equal danger. Over time, this will shift you out of chronic freeze responses. In the third layer, authentic divine timing integrates sympathetic activation. Right now, your activation is trapped in thought. Action converts that energy into behavior. Anxiety becomes movement. Instead of overthinking leading to paralysis, you get activation leading to execution. And this creates coherence between your mind and your body. In the fourth layer, authentic divine timing collapses cognitive distortions. You cannot maintain false narratives once you take action. Reality will give you data. It'll show you what works, what doesn't, and what needs adjustment. And this will eliminate overanalysis, your fantasy projections, and any identity inflations that are causing you delay. You become accurate in your assessments. It also restores internal authority. When you act without waiting for permission, you reinforce, I am the source of movement within my life. And this shifts your control back inward. You stop orienting around signs, timing, and external validation, and you start orienting around decision, execution, and feedback. Divine timing also reconditions reward pathways. Avoidance rewards relief. Action rewards progress. When you repeatedly act, dopamine attaches to completion, not avoidance. Motivation becomes action-based, not fantasy-based. And you stop needing to feel like it in order to move. You move because you've trained yourself to. So what divine timing actually feels like in its authentic expression is not calm. It's not certainty. It feels like pressure and direction. There is discomfort, but there is also forward pull. And you move inside that tension. You learn to trust yourself and your ability to provide your own safety, security, and stability within constraint and tension. So it's time to take a look at your life and take a real honest assessment in order to determine where this form of avoidance may be showing up. Be specific. Is this showing up in things you are not saying, things you are not creating, content you are not posting, messages you're not sending? Is there a decision you're delaying, or an exit to a relationship that you are avoiding? You already know the answer to this. So pick one area where you have been using the phrase divine timing. Remove the label and answer this question. What action am I avoiding? If you can't answer that in under 60 seconds, you are still in avoidance. Take that moment to define one action that creates exposure, whether that be being seen, being evaluated, or even being wrong, and execute that behavior within 24 hours. If you don't act, this isn't situational, it's structural. Most people will watch something like this, recognize themselves in it, and then go right back into their same patterns. That's a loop. If you want to actually interrupt it, I offer one-on-one Phoenix Gate sessions. This is not long-term coaching. This is a single session intervention. Where we identify the exact pattern that you are running, where it is coming from, and what changes behaviorally immediately. If you're serious about shifting something in your life right now, the link in the information is in the description box and on my bio on my page. If not, keep watching, but understand that awareness without action doesn't change anything. I love you.